Hi, everyone. Welcome to the hands-on developer sessions of Atarca Seminar Week. So this session is part of the Atarca Seminar Week that we have had different kind of events during this week. So my name is Ulrika Haavisto, and I'm a researcher at the Atarca project. And during this week, we have had the seminar where we share our learnings and results from our 2-year research project, Atarca. So Atarca is a European Union funded research project that consists 6 different organizations from different parts of Europe. So this week we had keynotes, workshops, and talks. And this event is targeted for everyone, especially for academics, policymakers, and developers, and all those curious about the data economy. But if you're curious, you can check our website, atarca.eu, and you will find all the events there. And after this week, we will also share the recordings of the sessions in our website, so you can check those out if you want. But now let's go to the agenda of today. So today we have 2 interesting developer sessions. We have the session 1 is named Secret Sauce of Token Design Ecosystem Toolkit, which is provided by Jarno Marttila from Streamr. And then the session 2 is Building Online Communities in Web3 and Beyond with Shareable NFTs, provided by Martin Moravec, also from Streamr. So now I want to introduce you to Jarno Marttila. Jarno is a seasoned software engineer at Streamr with 10+ years of experience in Web 2 and 3 technologies. He is an author of EIP 5023 standard for shareable NFTs and holds master's degrees in computer science from Tampere University of Technology and in economics from University of Vaasa. Jarno is passionate about delivering value and bridging the gap between novel technologies and their practical applications. So I will give the floor to Jarno. So please welcome Jarno here. I will stop sharing so you can.
Thank you, Ulrika.
Stage.
And hello everyone. I'll share my presentation so we can get the show on the road. Great. Let me know if you can see it.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay. So hi everyone. I have a session prepared for you. It might be a little bit of a lecture-like, but this is something kind of I'm wrapping up learnings from past 2 years of a research project, and we've been working for quite a while. But this might be interesting for anyone who is interested in developing tokens or thinking like how tokens could be used to facilitate value flows in ecosystems. But we'll get a bit closer into what it is about. Ulrika already mentioned introduced myself, so we don't have to spend here too much time. Maybe something just to tell myself that I feel like I'm holding many hats. So I usually design and implement, but I have a bit of a viewpoint from a couple of different directions. So from the computer science and also from the economics. You can find me on Twitter and LinkedIn. So if you have any questions after this, then just feel free to contact me and I'll try to answer them to the best of my possibilities. So agenda of today. So I need to offload quite a bit of context to you, to the audience, that basically what we have been doing in this project. If you have already participated in the previous sessions of the week, then probably this is just a good repetition. But let's get that out of the way. So basically, I'll a little bit very quickly recap like the Atarca project, the entry-level goods, like what are they? I'll tell a little bit about like what is Streamr. It might not be evident. Then we'll go more into the topic. We will talk a little bit about economics, tokenomics, token design, and token engineering. What are they? What are the differences, or what are the similarities? And then we get towards this ecosystem approach of the token design, and the beef of what if there's something that I would like you to remember out of this session is this digital ecosystem design toolkit that we have been using in this project for developing different kinds of tokens for different kind of ecosystems, like trying to solve particular problems related to those ecosystems. But we'll get more into detail about how it works and how we have used that in the Streamr's case. Atarca, what is it? It's an acronym for Accounting Technologies for Anti-Rival Coordination and Allocation. It's a bit of a word monster, but you could imagine it very simplified terms that we want to create new kind of bookkeeping methods that use cryptographic tokens to basically count different kind of units all together. So this is EU-funded public research project. You can find us from EU websites, also online from atarca.eu. The main focus, maybe this from my point of view, has been researching and testing tokenization to account and incentivize creation and production of anti-rival goods. We'll get very soon into what the anti-rival goods are and how do they compare to different other kind of goods. So in this project, we have had three different distinct pilots, and I'm from the Streamr community pilot side. We also have a pilot running in Barcelona called Green Shops pilot, and we had one running in Helsinki called Food Futures pilot. So getting into a little bit of economics or economic goods, like what are they? So these are usually like classified by their subtractability or by their excludability. Basically meaning like, can we consume these goods alone, or can we consume these goods together? Do they diminish when they're being consumed or used, or do they actually increase in value? So here you have see some simple examples, like rival good is basically a cup of coffee. If I take my cup of coffee and drink it, then nobody else can drink it. Very simple. But I can also exclude it. So I can keep it in my hand and nobody else can drink it unless take it from my hand. But then you also have like common goods that are rival, common pool goods. I can go there next to the lake and take a fish out of there, and it's my fish, it's nobody else's fish. That's all simple and clear. Then there are non-rival goods that basically you could think about them that like common spaces or like museums or public beaches. We can all consume them together, and they don't, let's say, they don't greatly diminish by the consumption, but they cannot get congested. So there's a certain capacity that a museum can serve in one go, or like a movie theater. You can fit maybe 100, 200 people in Finland and Helsinki, but after that, it's full. No more people can go into the theater and enjoy the movie. That's all good. But then there's a new category on the right side called anti-rival goods. And this is where things get a bit hazy or interesting, at least. Because the previous goods that I mentioned about, they usually work in the physical world. So physical objects themselves, like it's natural that they're rival or rivalrous. But when you go into the digital world, then basically the goods don't really diminish by their consumption. They actually can and do get better by having more people consuming them in parallel and simultaneously. For example, games, like online games, typically get more interesting, or the experience gets better if you have more people, let's say, competing against each other or working together, like in an MMO towards a certain objective. Or it could be also like an internet or mobile networks. Like they get better the more you have them, the more utility you can kind of leverage out of them. So that's like just a very quick recap. Like when we talk about economic goods, what are they, how they're divided. It's also good to keep in mind that it's not really a scale. Like the rival and anti-rival are not like scale itself. They're more like a completely different type of goods. But the rival and non-rival do seem to exist a bit on a scale from each other. But anti-rival is kind of perpendicular to the scale. So just to keep that in mind. Okay, just a brief message from our sponsor. So if you're interested, there's actually 2 different massive open online courses. This is the first one. You can go and check it out on the Atarca EU /courses/mock, and it will give you the basic understanding of like what am I talking about, and it will also go through the same matrix that I just introduced you. So if you're interested of like what is this anti-rivalry about, then go and check it out. It will take a couple of hours of your time, and then you'll be the expert of it. So pilots, I won't go too deeply into the different pilots themselves, but just to introduce you them here at a very high level, and maybe on focusing on the Streamr pilot, because I'm here from the Streamr organization. I'll introduce it the Streamr project to you in a bit. But in the Streamr pilot, basically the outcome that we wanted to get by introducing these tokens is that we wanted to get more or increased community engagement. So there's an open source community around the Streamr, and we want to incentivize people to spend their resources, their rival resources better while contributing on the community. But we'll also go into that a little bit more in a couple of slides. Okay, so let's start to talk about economics, tokenomics, and token engineering. We're kind of digging ourselves into the topic of the day. Yeah, if anyone has any questions at any point, we have so few like online that we can just take questions. If there's something you want to ask or something is unclear, then please let me know, and Ulrika can then moderate the discussion. So what is economics? Like briefly, there are like different definitions. So Paul Krugman, a Nobel laureate economics researcher, basically says that economics is a social science that studies the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. You could also say that economics is a study of allocation of scarce resources. This is more related probably to the market economy. Like Adam Smith used to say that, well, it's the invisible hand that like how do the people get to exchange goods for money, and how it like basically let's the societies flow as such. But it's also you could say that economics is a study of incentives and punishments and behaviors. So that might sound a bit more like the science of behavioral economics, and this is like probably the closest, let's say, very simplified definition of when we go into tokenomics. We want to study incentives, we want to study punishments, and we have certain behaviors that we're expecting or guiding people into. And the tool that we have is basically a cryptographic token. What about tokenomics? So we talk about economics, and now we have tokenomics. So what is it? What is it about, or what's the difference? You could just say that someone just slammed 2 different definitions together and made a new one. But there's some overlap here. You could say that tokenomics is also a study of incentives, punishment, and behaviors. But here, the tool that you're setting the incentives with which is a token. So let's say compared to okay, I'm simplifying here a little bit. So comparing to let's say using money as an incentive, or having central banks making certain decisions like how much there can be money, M1, M2, or M3 money in the whole system. And here you have your own tokens that you're basically your own central bank here. You set the policies, you set the inflationary or deflationary policies, that how much tokens can there be, or how can they be used. So here you in tokenomics perspective, or tokenomics world of economics, you have much more control of what kind of incentive units you want to build, or what you can build. But nevertheless, like the fundamental economic principles still apply. If you think about microeconomic tools like game theory, or macroeconomic tools of like sustainability systems, they all apply here. So we're not that far away from these like fundamental economics principles. We just introduce basically a new technical tool. So kind of same, but different. Few more definitions. So what about token economics, and what about token engineering? Now, sometimes people basically talk about tokenomics and token engineering like interchangeably, and there's overlap. There's overlap between these two definitions. So tokenomics, we could also imagine it as it's kind of like a mashup of different sciences. You have a general idea of like what tokens or ecosystems are, like from the distributed ledger technologies perspective. You can think about like how do we affect people's behavior with tokens in the context of DLT systems. You kind of think about in there. You study the economic potential of decentralized and cryptographically secured systems. You want to optimize something with this, and you want to set some desired outcome for your token systems, and you need to decide the rules of how those systems work. So you have kind of overlap of psychology and engineering and economic science all together, and in the cross section you have basically tokenomics. But then if you compare, like, so that is roughly what tokenomics is, and if you compare what token engineering is, so the other one is like kind of like mashup of different sciences and methodologies, and the other one is more like a life cycle or a process. So we move on from kind of like this science and design space to actual implementation space. So the token engineering, at least for myself, is more like a pipeline. So you have different phases. How do you move from idea to implementation to maintaining a token in a token ecosystem? I just put there roughly the different steps that at least we went through, or let's say the ideal pipeline. So you would probably go all through of these, and each step you kind of gain more confidence that your proposed or ideated token solution will work. But we'll get more into design aspects in a couple of slides. So these are not easy, and it's very common to see or think that, well, they're just tokens. Like, did we just, if we make tokens for an existing problem or existing system, or using NFTs or fungible tokens, then it can be that they're just used for the sake of tokens. Like, but there are quite a few challenges, like when you're tokenizing, where you're capturing something in a token form, then how there's like fundamental question in there that how do we have certainty that we're actually building a solution that will work, or how do we increase the likelihood, like throughout these steps? Like, you have an idea, like, yeah, I want to create this certain type of token, and I want to introduce it into my problem. How do I know that it might actually work, instead of just like create a token and throw it at the problem and see what sticks? Because that is also an approach, but it might be a very costly approach, because building these tokens like have inherent a cost in itself, not necessarily on the blockchain side, but more like the human labor side. So this is kind of like my personal pet peeve from the software consulting side, that there's a lot of kind of fluff and promises, like sort of like empty promises on tokens and token systems. And sometimes they're used without a lot of argumentation, like why aren't they needed in the first place? Like they're sort of like removed from the substance, and it's like people see this cryptographic tokens and it's the shiny new thing that they want to implement or take into account. But it's better to actually put some effort in there, put some design time, and really think like, what is the value, what is the benefit, what's the utility behind of using tokens, because a lot of problems can also be solved without tokens. Right. Okay, we're starting to get into the case. So Streamr case and the challenges of it. So first, I have to a little bit tell you about like what is Streamr. Very let's say high level or briefly. Streamr is a Web3 project. So we are a blockchain project. We were funded in 2017, so we've been operational almost 6 years already. We did an ICO, initial coin offering, and we raised some funds. We're a Swiss-based entity, and the focus of Streamr has been building this layer 0 decentralized distributed data transportation network. You could it's a bit of a lot of terminology in there, but you could think about it like that. What we want to kind of achieve has been to create this event-based peer-to-peer network that then ideally people or other Web3 projects could use as kind of as a middleware infrastructure to send like event-based data here and there. So this, like, if you're interested about Streamr itself, you can find us at the streamr.network. But what's interesting from this research project side is actually the community. So Streamr is also open source project. So we have quite a lot of our infrastructure that is available on GitHub. So you can just go and check it out. Like, what does it look like? But as any like Web3 project, then kind of the make it or break it stage is that like, how do you get enough adoption? And for this, like we have basically a community around the Streamr project. We have 10,000 members on the Discord. We have over 90,000 followers on Twitter, and these community members have different kind of roles, and they actively participate on discussing with the Streamr project and the developer teams. They make contributions, different types of, like they can be code, they can be just talking with us, giving some ideas, but they actively participate with us and interface with us with different ways. They can also be running like some of these like Streamr infrastructure like at their home. So that's also possible way to participate in the activities of the community. Here's the stuff, some snapshot of what it may look like if we go to Discord or Twitter. But we kind of already talked about that. So what was the challenge? Like, what was the part of challenge from our perspective? Like, let's say from the developer perspective or designer, token developer perspective. So we have an existing ecosystem which has already it has already established itself. It has been there for many years. We want to introduce a new tokenized incentive to the ecosystem itself. The research kind of a challenge in here has been that the token needs to be non-monetary. It had to be somehow anti-rival, or at least non-rival, and it should have some anti-rival properties. The outcome of this new tokenized incentive should be that we can make some kind of measurable positive change with the token into the ecosystem. And at the same time, you have kind of this fear in the gut that you don't want to break the system. So you have to create such an incentive that it will actually change people's behavior, or it will give more benefit to the community members, that they want to participate more in the activity of the community. But it can't be such kind of incentive that it will somehow alienate the current community members. So there's a little bit of let's say a fear in the game, like when you're touching existing live systems. You know what? You don't want to break them. Going forward. So, okay. So this is something what did the journey look like? Like what kind of things we did try along the way? Because in the beginning of the project, we didn't really know like exactly what we're doing. It's not like you draw a line on a map and okay, we'll work from point A to point B. It's more like you're being left in the forest and they say that the sun is that direction and there's the stars, and try to find your way home. So that's kind of very typical in a research project. That is very normal, that you're basically creating the tools along the way, trying to apply them into a problem and continuously improving, and then trying to get out of the forest. So the desired outcome has been that we want to increase allocated efficiency of Streamr community. What is it? What is allocated efficiency? We could think about it in terms of that we want to use the existing rival resources, let's say people's time or labor, in a more effective way, or we want people to use their time while contributing on a Streamr project in a more effective way. We want to give them more benefit for contributing to a Streamr project. But the challenge has been that, like, well, you need to create this anti-rival incentive that should stimulate the production of anti-rival goods. And here, the anti-rival goods could be thought of as like the contributions that the Streamr community members are creating for the community. But the anti-rival good could be also thought to be the Streamr project as a whole. So the more people are using the technology or the infrastructure created by a Streamr, the more value it gives for its community members. We also need to measure the impact of the tokens as increase of allocated efficiency. And then, well, what did we do? What did we try out? So at the one, so this is like at the beginning of the project. And this is like I'm changing my software consulting hat on, and I take my research hat off. And I think about like, hey, okay, easy peasy. Okay, Aalto give us requirements and we'll derive features that capture what makes token anti-rival. So that's the typical kind of software consulting approach. Like, tell us your problem, we'll give you a solution. Which kind of like takes us a little bit forward, but as the definition is a bit of a in the air, we don't really understand what is an anti-rival token, but we understand it's a token at least. So we get some kind of characteristics from this first approach. That we know that we have to create, we know that we likely have to create some kind of cryptographic token, but we don't yet know, like, does it fit the case? Like, we could create a wrong kind of token and we'll maybe alienate people from our community. We don't know, like, how this token should get, with this little information, we don't yet know, like, how the token should operate, what information they should capture. So we basically keep on iterating. So the next kind of obvious, let's say, software consulting approach would be that, okay, let's see what other people are doing and let's sort of copy that. So kind of map out different token archetypes, like what kind of token exists there. Well, there's fungible tokens, there's non-fungible tokens, there's different versions of them. And let's see, like from the template approach point of view, that what could fit, what could work. But yet it brings us a little bit forward again, but not much. So we still have like this uncertainty of the fitness of the token to the case. And we start to see that, yeah, tokens could be something, but we don't know which token would work. Like what should be fungible or non-fungible. And then kind of go back to the drawing board. And here we start kind of get into this tooling aspect that, well, maybe we need to kind of either reinvent or readjust or try different toolings. We cannot kind of solve this with the existing knowledge that there is. So we forget the tokens for a while. Let's kind of take 2 steps back, drop the tools that we have, and try to understand the problem. Try to understand the ecosystem better. So we use this value flow-based approach. We'll get in a bit what does that look like. So this is already touching the point of the ecosystem design toolkit. And we try to get the deeper understanding of the whole problem field. Like what kind of ecosystem members do we have? What kind of values are being transferred between them? What kind of causalities are between these different members? And again, like we'll get a little bit more information, but we still have a little bit of like uncertainty of the fitness. When we start to see that, okay, where it could be applied to. Okay, we continue iterating. Now we try to look at like, well, we start to see that where the token could fit in the ecosystem, but we don't yet know quite the fitness of like, does it really work between these two different, let's say, players? Like, would they want to cooperate, collaborate, defect, or something in between? Or would it work like just a while and then people will get bored out of it? So then we have a look like from macro macro perspective that basically utilizing game theory to try to get more reasoning that we want to adjust the people's behavior in such a way with the tokens, so with incentives and punishments, we want to adjust people's behavior in such a way that they would always prefer to collaborate, or even if you know the other part is going to defect, then you would collaborate. We also use like these polycentric governance models, like from the macroeconomic perspective, to try to explore that, well, how could we make this system more sustainable? Like, how could we make this system run for like mid to long term, not just in short term? And from this like amount of information, we already have kind of a good feeling that, okay, now we start to see that what kind of tokens, where and how would they work. But it's still not quite enough if we go in the consulting space. You would still need to do maybe some modeling and simulation, because you can't always like create a new token, try it with people, and then next day change how the token works, because people already kind of got used to it. It's like you have money, one day you have euros, and next day they say that, no, it's not euros, it's Finnish marks. And the next day it's something else. So you can't keep changing the currency. People will get frustrated. So we did some modeling and simulation. We used complex system dynamics modeling. I used the previous causalities that we mapped from this toolkit. And we basically found out like, well, okay, it seems to us that after all these steps, we have increased confidence that our system we have also been developing our token idea, and it seems that it will work. So now we can implement it. So now we can create the contracts, smart contracts. Now we can create the user interfaces. Now we can get like the mechanics of how the tokens work. So long story short, we get into ecosystem design toolkit. If you're not familiar with this, so a little bit of the background. So this is ecosystem toolkit itself is created by Dr. Ville Eloranta from Aalto University, and it's based on Simon Cicero's platform design toolkit. So these are kind of like very established tools already. So we have Aalto University has expanded this ecosystem design toolkit, which is expanded from platform design toolkit with a few extra exercises or tools to make it an entry-level business design toolkit. We'll look in next, so there's links on the presentation. You can also find this easily with Google search, but we'll next look with how does the first couple of exercises look like from our Streamr case point of view. So moving on. So you can imagine that what is this toolkit in the essence about? It's about finding the value flows between the stakeholders. So it's a value flow based ecosystem design approach. You want to understand the whole ecosystem, its members, and value flows between the members. And how do we do it? So first you have to describe the mission. What is the ecosystem mission? You have to identify, map, or decide. You have to describe the ecosystem members themselves. You have to do this identification and mappings of this mission-centric value flows between the members. So you have a mission, members, and then what are the flows reflected against those missions between the members. Then you'll take this information, make it as a graph, and then you can start to ideate the token distribution mechanisms to stimulate those key value flows. You might find some virtuous flow cycles between members. I'll show you in a bit. But when you start to identify those like flows that seemingly go around and around and seemingly increase the value of the system, you might want to incentivize those flows to work better. Or if there's something, let's say, that is a negative value flow, and you might want to disincentivize those. But I won't touch that in this. So what did this look like from our perspective? This is basically the start of the ecosystem design toolkit. So if you go and download it, it will have instructions how you can run these exercises. Basically, it is going to be an empty template and then some steps how to run it. You put the ecosystem mission in the middle. In our case, has been basically keep advancing the Streamr project as a community effort, and then you map basically on arcs the ecosystem members that are at utmost importance to the ecosystem mission, and members who are not that important, then you put them outer arcs. And after that, you basically put with more information about them, like, well, what kind of members are these? Do they have some kind of characteristics? Like here we have community members of Streamr community. They vote on improvement proposals. They share knowledge and ideas between themselves on our community platforms. They participate in governance. And well, then you start to map more and well, do they have some kind of assets that are valuable, or do they have some capabilities that are valuable? And basically now community members, you could say that maybe it's more on the capability side, what they're offering, what they're bringing to the table. So they can make all kinds of code, non-code contributions. We did some surveys to our community, and the people come from all kinds of backgrounds. So we have people who are specialized in social media. We have people who are specialized in search engine optimization, or maybe they are just technology enthusiasts. They're very curious, like, what is this project about? So we have a lot of room to cover there. So after you have the mission statement, the mission statement defined, you have the members defined and mapped, identified. Then you can start thinking about like, well, if I put these members on a matrix, what kind of value is being transferred from one member to another? What kind of benefit or utility is being transferred from one member to another? And for example, here we have ideated or identified that, for example, if you have a tokenized incentive, Streamr team gives acknowledgement tokens or acknowledgements to Streamr community members. And on the other hand, community members then make code non-code contributions like towards the Streamr team. And between community members and other community members, there's some kind of knowledge sharing. So this is just like exercise to start to see the complexity of the people and the ecosystem itself. But then if we take that matrix and we actually put it as a graph, then we start to see like in a more human readable way that, well, what kind of value transfers and direction is happening. And here you see basically 3 different representations. We will be played around with the same information, but you can start to see that there's a certain kind of loops starting to appear inside the let's say the Streamr community members, between the Streamr team itself and the community members, and these loops like start to become merges. So Streamr team, like on the far right image, like Streamr team is basically giving acknowledgements in a tokenized form, the Streamr community. And the Streamr community is making code and non-code contributions back to Streamr team. And the more this happens, the more value is being generated, the more value is being transferred. And this is something that we want to basically facilitate in our experiment. This goes is not as a part of the design toolkit, but I said a little bit about that. You can from the token design perspective, you can already start to think about here that what could be if you have token that you want to introduce in the community, you can already start thinking like what could be the distribution mechanism, how should the tokens flow, what kind of limitations should you want to build inside a token, who gives the token, what do they get in return. So you can already start thinking like alongside of this exercise, the token mechanics, like the limitations, the control structures, the governance of them. And here we basically thought like a few different examples. We just put them in a matrix, and we thought about like okay, let's think. What do we have? And basically what we ended up with of these choices that, well, we want to have some kind of shareable tokens or token distribution through community sharing. And we just found out that this actually might be the most scalable solution that we could make for this type of acknowledgement token. Going to be another exercise, also not part of the design toolkit, but just to give you an ideas. So we started to think about like, well, okay, we have different token distribution mechanisms or choices. How anti-rival are these, or how feasible are these to build? And we basically did a little bit of internal workshopping by thinking about with the development team and design team that what can we build and how anti-rival is it on a subjective scale. And we're kind of like in the middle. So we thought about like, okay, if we make a token that's distributed by the Streamr team, but it's shareable by the receivers, it seems to us it's somewhat anti-rival and has some anti-rival characteristics, but it's also of such complexity that we think that we can build it with moderate effort. This is, we can skip a couple of slides, but this is basically a game theoretical exercise that then you can start to think about like what other mechanics you want to incorporate with the token by doing this game theoretical exercise that you basically map there or you try to adjust the end result of the game in such a way that one always be able to collaborate. If it looks like that people want to collaborate, you might want to increase or introduce extra disincentives or incentives to people so they will always collaborate. From token design perspective, this could mean that you might want to, for example, make it so that if people misuse the tokens, you would have a way to take them away from the people. Might be a pretty radical idea in the Web3 space, but if you want to make token, if you want to make sure that people play nicely, then sometimes you need the stick option in there, at least on the threat of the stick in the background. And same with the positive side or incentive side, that you might want to imagine that extra incentives may be needed for the stakeholders, so that they will collaborate together. And in this case, the collaboration might be just that when it comes to creating a community contribution to the community, you want people to make them in good faith, and you want them to be evaluated in good faith. And if those two are in balance, then the system should work well. Another view, so macro level view, you can check this one, the toolkit. So basically, you'll try to find different kind of sustainability drivers to find out that is this proposed token solution, like will it work, like let's say medium to long term, not the short term, that people will get some of tokens and they're like, yay, I got NFT, and they'll run away. But they're not interested in coming back to the system because there's nothing more in there except the shiny new thing to be earned. Okay, so that's already a lot of information. But what do these tools kind of cover so far? So we have identified the ecosystem mission, we have mapped the members, we have mapped the value flows between them, we have micro and macroeconomic reasoning, and some testing of fitness of the ideated solution. We have kind of found out along the way, like some rudimentary mechanics for the token implementation, meaning the application logic inside a smart contract, like how should the token work or what are the limitations of it. Not fully covered, at least, is basically this stochastic modeling, like agent-based modeling. There are different tools for this that you can easily find. It doesn't cover legal frameworks, so that's completely different dimension that we haven't kind of explored in this, but we haven't had to care too much because these are non-monetary tokens. If they're monetary tokens, then legal perspectives are very important. We haven't verified a business case like with these tools. It could be done later on. And also we haven't kind of evaluated different cost of design choices. We have very briefly thought about it. The one of the exercises when we thought about like how feasible the different distribution mechanisms are, but we didn't go into depth, like, well, what is the actual cost of them? But this is more like from a software consulting side, that these might be things that you want to think about in the future. Okay, outcomes. I'm looking on over time, but hopefully Ulrika doesn't mind. So what came out of all these things, like throughout the project? So we basically found out that the shareability aspect is very interesting, and it seems to be novel and unique. So we made basically a new standard for shareable NFTs, and you can go and find it from the Ethereum improvement proposals. It's basically an interface definition that says that there's a function method of share, an event of share, that if you want to, let's say, make your existing tokens shareable, then they just need to fulfill that interface definition. When we talk about sharing in natural language, so meaning human language, it does have multiple different meanings. We have basically in this project, there stands that sharing equals copying. So we are copying and giving the copy away. We are copying and giving the copy away. But it could be anything else. It could be lending. Like if you, let's say, share a DVD or Blu-ray for your friend, you probably expect to get it back at some point. So it's not a gift. It's not an exchange. You're just sharing it for a while. Or if you have physical resource, then sharing could be just cutting cake. Taking a piece of your birthday cake and give it to someone, and you're basically sharing of what you have. But the standard itself, like, it doesn't define what the sharing is in different contexts. but it defines the interface and what should the Sherpa tokens be like. We also made a platform, Talk.io. So this is a community platform for different communities. We have used it for Streamr. We have used it for the personal ballot case. And I think it's going to be used also for some Atarca-based NFTs if you do the MOOCs. So this is just like a human interface to easily browse the tokens that you have earned or other people have earned and to make some token transactions with them. And we have more stuff, more resources that you can check. There's also a YouTube version of the entry-level course. So if you don't like reading, you can listen it. There's also design toolkit course. You can go and find it on the below links. And that's all that I have to say, unless there's some questions. That's already a lot of material. Like we could probably have a whole university course out of this.
Thank you so much, Jarno, for this interesting presentation. So do we have any questions for Jarno before going to the next session of today?
Can I ask Ulrika one?
Yes, of course. Please go ahead.
Jarno, in some early parts of your slides, you had this definition that economics is can be seen as one definition of economics is that it is a study of allocation of scarce resources. So I just wonder that if there are any ideas of what would then be the branch of science which would study the allocation of valuable resources.
Well, I mean, the scarce resources are valuable, right? And hence the scarcity. So if we have market-based economics, then or basically this relates to the market-based economic view into economics itself. So supply and demand, basically. If there's a lot of demand, then you can and less supply, then you can ask a lot more money for it. And the valuation itself is done in monetary terms with the monetary money units. But I don't know if that answered your question, or maybe there's a follow-up there.
No, I don't want to follow up, just wanted to throw it out there and ask a question.
I actually have one question for Jarno. So yes. I'm curious, is this kind of normal approach that you took on other projects at Streamr, for example, this ecosystem toolkit, or is this very different the way you approach like a normal software project on your work
It's for me it was like completely new and novel approach, and we found that it works especially well like for token design also. I mean, the toolkit itself is technology agnostic, so toolkit doesn't care what kind of how do you incentivize people, how do you incentivize value flows. But we just found out that, well, it seems to be working very well with the cryptographic tokens, but you could use it for any other tools also. So if you have some other way of transmitting or transferring value, then I could imagine it works well that well.
Okay, interesting. So you would recommend like checking this out for like other software projects as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It was very eye-opening for myself.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Do we have more questions? Elina, do you have one?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Hey, I would have wanted to ask now that you have developed this and you mentioned that you're looking forward to interested parties to come and experiment, and you mentioned the Talco app. So how has it been has it been like raising interest in a lot of parties? That would be interesting to know, like how has it been like initially now?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So we actually just came back from ETH Denver on beginning of this week. So it's like one of the biggest, let's say, blockchain conference in North America. And we of course like went there with the idea of like, hey, let's test the waters. Let's see what people think about it. And definitely the shareable NFTs, like because Talk Lab is just like it's just the view to use the shareable NFTs that are in the blockchain itself. So the shareable NFTs were very interesting conceptually to a lot of people. They were like, what? How can NFTs be shareable? How does this work? What do they capture? Like, what does the sharing mean? Like, is it copying or is it transferring or what is it? So people are very, very curious and open-minded about it. And we found out like several parties that were interested of using our platform also. And if there's someone, let's say, listening to this recording later on and you're like, I want to try that out, then just let us know, because we are looking forward to onboard new communities to use the our platform also.
Cool, thank you.
Thanks, Elina.
Yeah, thank you, Jarno. I think we could actually go to the next talk from Martin, because it's about this Talk Lab IO more in detail and the shareable NFTs. So maybe if this is something you wonder right now, maybe he can provide us more information about that. And unfortunately, Martin couldn't join us here today himself, but he has sent us this recording of his talk. He made this for us, and Jarno is here to answer any questions you have regarding Martin's presentation, because they have been working together closely, and I think Jarno is quite capable of answering at least most of the questions regarding this presentation. But yeah, so Martin Moravec is the solutions architect at Streamr and a head of technology at TX, Tomorrow Explored. And with over a decade of experience in tech industry, Martin is talented software engineer, Android developer, and also a founder of Minimalist Phone, if you have heard of that. So let's see what Martin has to say to us.
Hello, everybody. My name is Martin Moravec. I work as a solutions architect at Streamr. And today I will talk about building online communities in Web3 and beyond, both without and with shareable NFTs. So people are born with desire to connect with others, to form relationships, and to be part of a group. This desire for community is thought to have evolved as a survival mechanism, as humans have always been more successful in hunting, gathering, and protection when working together as a group. Today, this same desire for community is evident in the way people join clubs, participate in groups, and form online communities. Being part of a community provides individuals with a sense of belonging, identity, and what is even more important, a sense of a purpose. This also provides emotional and social support, which is essential for mental and physical well-being. In addition, communities can serve as a powerful platforms for social change and personal growth of each individual member. Therefore, when building a Web3 community, it's important to understand and tap into this fundamental human desire for connection and create a sense of belonging, identity, and purpose in your community. This will help attract members and keep them engaged in the community throughout the time. The two terms, audience and community, are very often used interchangeably. But there is quite a bit of difference between them. While audience simply consumes information and content, community is made up of active and contributing members who are also self-organizing. An audience can be thought as of a passive group of people who are simply observing or consuming information that you provide. They may be interested in a particular topic or subject, but they are not actively participating or contributing to the conversation or to the project itself. On the other hand, a community is made up of active members who are engaged and invested in the community's success. Real community members participate in discussions, they contribute ideas, and help to shape the direction of the community and the project. Community members also self-organize, meaning that they actively participate in the governance and decision-making process of the community. To build a strong Web3 community, it's important to focus on building a group of active, contributing members rather than simply trying to attract a large number of audience. You can also encourage members to take active role in the community by creating opportunities for them to participate and to contribute. This will help create a sense of ownership and investment in the community's success. People will feel like they have a skin in the game, so to say, and will make the community more resilient, responsive, and more effective. So, what are the advantages of having a strong community? By building a strong community, you can rely on word of mouth and organic growth to attract new members. This can significantly lower your marketing costs, as you won't have to spend as much on paid advertising for expanding the community or promoting your project. A strong community can also help you lower customer acquisition costs. Community members can act as brand ambassadors, either intentionally or maybe even unintentionally, and they will attract new customers and users to your project. By engaging with your community and actively soliciting feedback, you can also create a demand for your project or product and get early insights into what users want. This can help you improve your product and increase its appeal to potential users. And early feedback is very important because it allows you to quickly iterate on your product or your project and improve in this way. A strong community can also provide you with networking and connection opportunities. You can connect with other like-minded individuals and projects in the industry, which can help you expand your reach and gain new insights. So you can expect to receive a lot of connections or suggestions for connection from your community members. A dedicated community can also provide you with support during tough times, such as, for example, bear market or any negative events happening in the project. Community can act as a sounding board and offer emotional and marketing support, which can help you when going through difficult periods. Having a dedicated community also means having competitive advantage that cannot be copied easily, which is especially important in open source project where anybody can take the source code and deploy their own instance of whatever you are building. A strong Web3 community cannot be easily copied by competitors. Building a dedicated community takes time and effort, but it's something that your competitors may not be able to replicate. Now let's have a look at a few best practices when building a Web3 community. First one is composability. So composability is critical for every Web3 project as it allows for project to highlight each other's strengths and lift each other up on the way to adoption. Composability can happen on 3 levels. First one is smart contract composability. This is the ability to link and use together multiple smart contracts to create more complex and powerful decentralized applications. For example, a contract for decentralized exchange can be composed with a smart contract for lending platform, allowing users to borrow and trade assets on the decentralized exchange. As the next option, the composability can be on a project level. This is the ability for different blockchain projects to work together and integrate their technology to create a stronger ecosystem. Web3 project composability is made possible by the use of common protocols and standards, such as the Ethereum blockchain or the IPFS, the Interplanetary File System. This allows for seamless integration of different projects. And also it enables the developers to create new and innovative use cases by combining already existing Web3 projects in new ways. And the last kind of composability is community composability. This is the ability for different groups and individuals within the blockchain community to collaborate and build on each other's work to drive innovation and adoption of the technology. Overall, by focusing on composability within your community, you can create opportunities for collaboration and growth that will drive the overall success and adoption for your project. Another thing which is important is to stay informed about recent Web3 developments. I know it's a lot of happening. There is a new project or several new projects every day, but still you should keep a track of new projects, new technologies and trends in the Web3 ecosystem. This will help you identify new opportunities for collaboration and growth within your community. Also, don't forget to leverage new developments. Once you are aware of the new developments, think about how they can be used to benefit your community and your project. This could include incorporating new technologies into your own project or finding ways with other projects to create new opportunities. Next, communicate news and express your opinion. So when you are communicating on social media, for example, or creating other content, you should always share information about new developments in the field with your community, and also express your opinion and your own thoughts on these ones. This can help you build trust and engagement within the community. This also gives added value to your viewers and your community. And last but not least, highlight synergies. Look for ways to connect with different projects, technologies, and communities together to create new opportunities for collaboration and growth. Next, be transparent about your plans. So share information about your project, including its goals, development progress, and any challenges or obstacles you are facing. Also, don't forget to communicate transparently. Share information about your project and its development in a timely and clear manner. This can include regular updates on both ups and downs, progress reports, and detailed documentation. Then engage with the community, encourage them to share their thoughts, ideas, and feedback on your project. This can help build trust and engagement within the community. Last but not least, very important, be accountable. Take responsibility for your actions and decisions and be willing to explain them and justify them to the community. This will really help you to win their trust. Engaging the community through community voting is also a very common method of engagement. However, it's important to exercise caution as transitioning to DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, for your project can be difficult or impossible to reverse if things don't go as planned. So how can it go wrong? Let's have a look at the cons first. The voting process can be complex and also time-consuming, both for the project, so doing the setup, preparing all the proposals, preparing research and evaluation of each proposal, also trying to present it in a balanced way. Then not all community members may have the same level of knowledge or expertise, and it may be really hard for them to decide on these proposals. There is also a very high risk of voter apathy or lower voter turnout. People have also other things to do than just vote for each proposal of your project. Vote delegation can partially solve these two problems, but it still requires certain activity from your users. And also, the community may not always vote the way you would like them to do. So you need to be really careful and considerate about this point. But there are also upsides. Decision-making power is distributed among community members, which gives them a stronger feeling of having the skin in the game. And it also encourages more active participation and engagement. It also, as mentioned, offers buy-in and support for important decisions that can be tough sometimes to take. People usually don't join Web3 projects for what they are now, but they join them for what they can be in the future. Therefore, make a roadmap and update it regularly. In the roadmap, you should emphasize long-term vision. Web3 projects are built on decentralized technologies and often have the goal of creating a new decentralized future. Make sure your roadmap clearly communicates the project's long-term vision and also how it aligns with the core values of Web3. Don't forget to include specific milestones. A roadmap should include specific milestones that will demonstrate progress towards this long-term vision. This helps to build trust and demonstrate that the project is actually moving in the right direction, especially when you can show that you are getting things done milestone by milestone. And focus on community involvement. The Web3 community values projects that are open, transparent, and community-driven. Make sure your roadmap includes ways for the community to get involved, such as through governance or development. Roadmap should also show a clear path to adoption. The Web3 community is always looking for projects that have a clear path to adoption and can demonstrate the real-world use cases and a real-world added value. Be sure to highlight how your project will be adopted and by whom. And last, be transparent. Be open and transparent about the progress of the project and any challenges that may arise. Being open upfront about setbacks and possible challenges ahead helps you to build trust and shows that the project is being managed responsibly. I think everybody knows what gamification is. The question is, how can a community gamification in Web3 look like? Some examples are, for example, leaderboards, where members can be ranked based on their contributions, such as the number of tasks they have completed or the number of community discussions they have participated in. Other options are badges, where members can earn badges or trophies for completing certain tasks or achieving certain milestones within the community. So generally, rewards can be monetary and non-monetary. Monetary rewards, this would be typical fungible tokens of your project that you would send to some community members. No surprise here. The other category are non-monetary rewards. This is very interesting as a category, especially for starting projects, because it's very budget friendly. So you don't need to give money or create sell pressure by giving tokens. So what do you give instead? Let's have a look. If you don't give money as a reward, you give something that has, for example, reputational value, it has a social value, or something that a person can use as a proof of a skill. Such a reward can also be used to grant user access to a private subcommunity or a chat. Most likely, this one would have a form of an NFT or a newly presented shareable NFT. If you have never heard about shareable NFTs before, don't worry. The concept is based on a recently published Ethereum request for comment, the ERC5023. This one describes interface with the share function and a share event that can be used to extend regular either ERC721 or ERC1155 and NFT contract. The ERC also contains the reference implementation of a shareable NFT in Solidity. There are many potential use cases to be explored with shareable NFTs. But for now, we have focused on using shareable NFTs to grow online communities by giving them a reward and recognition that is decentralized and shareable. These NFTs can also provide a stronger sense of belonging for community members. And in this case, we have developed a DEP, a decentralized application, hosted at toolkit.io for facilitating these NFTs at different stages. So at first, what is the difference between a regular and shareable NFT, you may be asking? The regular NFT implements, as mentioned, either ERC721 or 1155. It has a really great wallet and tooling compatibility. It's really widespread interface and standard. And regular NFTs are typically transferable. On the other hand, shareable NFT, they can implement the same interfaces, but on top, they also implement the ERC5023, the shareable non-fungible token ERC. In this case, the shareable NFTs are non-transferable, but instead they can be shared with other wallets. Now, you may be wondering, what's the difference between NFT transferring and NFT sharing? With NFT transfer, typically the wallet A sends NFT to wallet B, and after this transfer, the wallet A doesn't have it anymore, the NFT, the wallet B has it, the same as expected. In contrast to that, NFT sharing, when wallet A shares NFT with wallet B, then after this sharing, both of the wallets have it. It's the same. Imagine I have a file and then I share the file with you. After that, we both have the same file. The way this is implemented on the smart contract level is that the wallet B receives a newly minted NFT, which is the same as original and linked to the original NFT. At the moment, we have a research project in progress that is trying to figure out whether non-monetary compensation in the form of shareable NFT is able to motivate people to contribute more to the project, and the first results are very promising. And to make minting and sharing of shareable NFTs easy, we made a dApp that you can find at the address toolkit.io. Here on this platform, you can browse existing tokens, of course. If you have a token that you receive from the project, you can share it with someone who helped you to achieve what you have achieved. Even if you don't have any token, you can come to the platform, connect your wallet, and like any of the existing tokens in any projects. If you have a token, you can also do endorsement on some projects. Endorsement means that you write a short thank you text that will be displayed underneath the token details. And if you are a project admin on this platform and we have deployed the project for you, you can also mint new shareable NFTs. On the platform, the SNFTs are grouped by project and are being issued to community members as a reward for their contribution. This is how a single shareable NFT is visualized on the platform. The card shows at first whether it's original or shared. This one is original. And it shows here the name of the holder. In this case, this is a Discord handle. Then it shows the title of the token, so what was done in order to achieve this. The category of the NFT, these are typically project specific. And then in the bottom, you can see number of likes for this token and number of shares. So how many times was this token shared with someone? So why did we introduce sharing and liking to NFTs? By offering users the option to share their NFTs, we expect to leverage network effects around SNFTs and the platform itself. Also, the sharing has the ability to share a recognition that the user has received from the project. For example, imagine you wrote a blog about Streamr network and your friend helped you by proofreading this blog. For your blog, you receive a shareable NFT from Streamr, and then you can share it with your friend who helped you to proofread it. Regarding liking, as mentioned, anybody, this means any wallet, can like any token on the platform, even without owning SNFT previously. Liking is also implemented as an on-chain transaction and requires you to pay a small gas fee. By offering the option to like tokens, we expect to improve content curation and as well as allow anybody to engage with the platform. Good news is that Talco SNFTs work together with the Guild XYZ platform. So what is Guild XYZ? It's a tooling that offers gated access for NFT holders. It can control access to, for example, Discord channel, Telegram group, Google Workspace documents, or GitHub repositories. This means it grants access dynamically to these resources if you can prove that you hold this NFT. By combining Talco and Guild, you can unlock additional value for SNFTs holders in your community and make the rewards even more attractive. This is a screenshot of the UI that the project admin would use to mint SNFT. So no coding is required from your side. What you need to do is that you log in with your admin wallet at the talcoapp.io. You open your project section. From the drop-down menu, you choose mint. Then you need to fill out details such as the wallet address of the receiver, the title of the contribution, the description. You need to provide an image for this NFT, and then you need to fill out category-specific information. After that, you can mint the token and upload the metadata from your browser. If you would like to start using shareable NFTs for your community, make sure to contact us at info@talcoapp.io. Afterwards, we can deploy the project smart contracts for you, and you'll be able to start minting your own shareable NFTs. Current Talco team consists of me, Martin Moravec. I work as a solutions architect at Streamr, and my colleague Jarno Marttila, also from Streamr. He's leading the second session of today's seminar. So thank you for your attention. I hope you have enjoyed the content and that it will be useful for you in your future community activities.
So yeah, thank you so much to Martin for creating this interesting presentation on the community building. So now we still have some time for questions. You can put them on the chat, or maybe just open your mic and you can ask whatever comes to your mind, or you can even comment both of these presentations if you like. Actually, I'm curious, Jarno, what are your thoughts on community building in this specific case Martin was, and also you were describing us? How has the whole process been? Has it been difficult to, or is the community or engaged from the beginning, or?
Well, if you think about the Streamr case itself, like the community is quite like, let's say, fluid and positive. So they were very happy to trial out like new tokens. And they see like we did a couple of surveys to the community like before the pilot and then at the end of the pilot, and they were very let's say happy about the token solutions. Of course, they had some ideas how to develop them further, but the reception was very positive. Of course, like here, like in our case, we had existing community, so it was sort of easier to test out the pilot things in comparison where if you have a new like empty community that you have to work on to kind of filling it out with people and finding them like things to do, and that seems to be like a very hard step at the beginning of community building journey. Here we have kind of like somewhat mature community already.
Okay, interesting. So people have been very interested of these shareable NFTs in your existing community already. So yeah. Cool. Do we have more comments, questions? Tommy, you have one?
Well, just a comment that I think this shareable NFT in some kind of crypto community is a very well chosen name, because there's kind of it causes cognitive dissonance for them, and so therefore it is bound to be interesting. It will take some time but like I think many people will be interested just based on the name. It's very well chosen.
Yes, that's very true. I heard that Jarno, you have presented these shareable NFTs in other conferences, etc. And did you wear some T-shirt or something? And people were already curious about the proposal you just mentioned.
Yeah, we actually had like these printed T-shirts or hoodies that were like the ERC 5023 on the chest. And then people kept stopping us and asking, like, hey, what's that? What's that number? What does it stand for? And then we heard like, oh, it's a shareable NFT. Like, wait, how does that work? So people were very curious about it. And to me, it's sometimes it's a bit striking at this part of the project that I guess we've been too close to what we've been working for. Because for me, it's like obvious thing, like, yeah, of course, like, why couldn't they be shareable? But then everyone is like, they can't be shareable. So there's a bit of contrast in there.
Yeah, people were following Martin's suggestions, like how to build a community. So be on top of the latest advancements in these different areas as well.
I think we are very fortunate to have this crypto community, which is sort of open to new ideas in a way, like not typically, well, perhaps some startup communities, but this is a larger phenomenon thanks to the previous phenomenon of cryptocurrencies. So there's some financing and the community is there. So we have better than average chances of getting our ideas to implementation, I think, or in this space.
Yes, thank you. Did you, Elina, you had a question, please?
Yeah. I also think that this is really good for crossing boundaries, like between different kinds of sectors. And actually the sector I'm interested in now with my question here is the artistic side here. So is it just like AI-based visuals you're having in the SNFTs now, or how is it becoming established at the moment, Jarno?
Good question. So we went with the AI tools to create art quickly for the Streamr community or for the NFTs. So we kind of had a meeting with the Streamr designer and the Streamr community management team, and we were kind of ideating that what could be the animal figure or a symbol that we would want to be repetitive, like in the NFTs. So eventually they would form sort of a collection. And we basically have different categories that have different themes, but they have basically the same thematic background. So it's like in Web3 space, it's quite common that you have something like space related, like astronaut or rocket, or I don't know, doggos like Shiba Inus or whatnots. So we went with astronaut, and then it's kind of themed it for each category that you can earn a shareable NFT, like to be a specific kind of astronaut doing some specific themes or specific activities, like writing a page or playing with each other or whatnot.
Yeah, thanks. Because I think that there is a lot of potential also in that direction. So, and it will awaken interest in different kinds of parties than what we have been talking about here, like the tech and the finance and business, everything. But this is then one more.
Yeah, the technology itself, like you could use it for other things too. Like it doesn't have to be necessarily like what we have done. Like if you talk about shareable NFTs, like we have just taken the stance of the pilot that they encapsulate or capture like human-made community contributions. and then they can be reshared to capture someone else's contribution in reference to your contribution. But it could be anything else too. Like I think there's a vivid discussion related to AI tools and then the source material that's been used to develop these AI models. That, like, there's a question like, what is the attribution for if I create an AI-generated image, does the original image holder get attributed because their image was used to train the AI model? So now I must use the AI model, and the AI model has been attributed. So you could use some kind of maybe token-based system in there too, to kind of let the attributations flow in towards the original creator direction.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome, because I think that's this discussion will come up more and more, because the original contributors, they need to be somehow acknowledged. Yeah.
So this problem is not like very novel either. It's like you can already see in YouTube or TikTok, like people are lending or loaning each other's content with fair use policies.
Yes.
But they don't necessarily get attributed, or even they don't get revenue share in YouTube, because YouTube can just launch these YouTube Shorts, which are like very small clips. But then the monetization aspect of that doesn't work as well as the long YouTube videos. Like they, as a corporation, haven't managed to solve that issue. And then people who create YouTube Shorts, like they don't really like it because they're not being fairly compensated. So again, like there's like this monetary attribution angle that is kind of left open.
Yeah, basically the old micropayments problem that's affecting those. And I think one part which people don't typically appreciate enough is that how much people actually hate to do any kind of accounting. Like we don't really generally recognize, but we are not, like, nobody of us wants to do payments of any kind. We hardly can put our finger to somewhere to read our fingerprint to accept a payment. We'd rather have quite much automation, and that's one key part of why this micropayment space has been, well, maybe 2 decades already, has had technical solutions. But how to make those technical solutions practical is that it requires lots of automation. Of course, there is a paradox there, because you need to be somehow aware of what you are getting, how you participate in the revenue sharing model, in order to feel that, okay, I am in control somehow. But how do you do that if everything is automated? So it's a very tight rope to walk. So something might come out of it eventually.
Yeah, that's it. That's good that you brought up the payment aspect, because that was also something that we were a bit afraid at the beginning of the pilot, that we didn't know that would people be willing to make token transactions, meaning like, would they be willing to spend like, let's say, a scarce resource of like paying the underlying blockchain currency to be able to share their award, or to, let's say, like someone's award. Because if the benefit of paying is only to get receipt of payment, receipt of purchase, then it's not enough. So basically what we are giving as a receipt of purchase is also an NFT. So if you go and like someone's shareable NFT, you can mint a copy of that NFT to yourself. So that is not shareable anymore, like in the same way shareable. We're basically openly sharing a copy of the NFT to yourself, but it's not further shareable to other people. So there's at least one like extra utility or benefit there than just like getting the transaction receipt that, hey, you paid 0.01 euro cents for this transaction.
Yes, interesting. So, but people have been willing to pay a small fee for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's it's all going to be in the end report. So we've been happy to see that people are using the toolkit transactions. They've been sharing, they've been liking, it's been like fractions of cents, like the average costs for those transactions.
Okay, yeah. Have you actually received personally? Have you received a contribution token or? Or have you just minted them for others?
No. I haven't received, or I haven't minted for myself. So I thought like I'll try to
Okay.
keep the ethics side in order.
I would have asked like, how did it feel to receive one? I guess it would be nice to get something like that. Exciting. Do we have more questions, Elina?
Yeah, actually, this is not directly not to the topic, but Tommy, is your research results somewhere to be seen online, or a presentation of them from the project work?
Well, I guess the best instantiation of that would be the paper that has been submitted to ICCS 2023. So that's pending acceptance. But I do have the manuscript. But since it's not accepted or rejected yet, it's sort of pending acceptance. It's not really public. But I do have such a paper.
Okay, well then it will come.
Yeah. Actually, there's a decision date on April.
And I actually put it in the chat, the Vimeo link. We had on Wednesday, we had an academic seminar as part of this Atarca seminar week. So Tommy was also presenting there his research. So you can take a look of that recording in this Vimeo link. So I guess Tommy was the third presenter of that day. If you want to scroll straight to there. So you can take a look.
Thank you. And this presentation from today, like Martin's session, is it also going to be in Vimeo to be seen later on?
Yeah, we will publish them in somewhere Atarca site, maybe, or in YouTube. We will see. But I can send all the links to you later on. Maybe next week we will have them up. So
Thanks.
You check them again.
Yeah, Tommy's paper is going to be a very good continuation to my presentation. So it delves more into the modeling and simulation side, and it's also focused on this Streamr pilot case. So it will kind of get more in-depth understanding, like, well, how did that go?
Yeah, actually, you are a co-author, Jarno, so it's actually our paper. So. And there are two other co-authors also, Esco and then Zerzi from Spain. So, yeah.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much. Do we have still? We have still time, but obviously, like, we don't have to end at 5 if we don't want to spend all the remaining time. Is there something you still want to discuss about? Jarno, do you have something to say in the end?
Well, I would say don't be shy. Approach me or Martin on LinkedIn or Twitter. Ask any questions if you have. We'll be happy to answer them and guide you to resources. It's been very exciting 2 years. Like I've loved like this project, and as I think many people have been saying along the way, like, this is the best EU project I've ever had, and I can only agree with that.
Yeah, great. Yeah, but we will have all the information of the results of the project in the Atarca website. So that's a good place to stay in the loop what we have done, and all the recordings, etc. from this week. So you will find them there. I think we are ready to wrap it up and start the weekend maybe here. But thank you so much to Jarno and to Martin for participating or presenting your very interesting sessions today. A lot of new information, and I'm happy that we have the recording. So maybe we can go back and see if there is something we are still wondering about. And that's great if we can contact you with further questions later on, if we have any. And thanks for all the audience for your participation to today's session. And I will wish you a very happy weekend. So thank you so much, and bye.
Thank you.